Story 1, TIFU. By trying to stay awake during anesthesia about a year ago, I had finished 25 rounds of pelvic radiation for cancer and was taking Percocet for severe pain I had around that time. I stopped taking the pain medication cold turkey before I ran out, but somehow my body didn't react well to this. I was having some serious stomach pain, and the doctors were suspicious that I had gastroparesis. They needed to do an endoscopy to confirm it. I thought, hey, I've had surgeries before, no big deal, and then I got curious. I wondered if I could remember what happens just before being knocked out by anesthesia if I made a real effort to stay awake. Challenge accepted. I had already been in the hospital for a few days because of my stomach issues. They wheeled me from my hospital bed to the surgical area, and then transferred me to a smaller bed. I was parked in a huge room with a few other patients, separated by curtains. Fun fact: I had been in the same room a year before for a painful blood patch procedure without anesthesia. Eventually, they rolled me into the surgical room. My bed was parallel to the freezing cold surgical table, and they moved me over. As always, they asked me my name and birthday for the 50th time. Then the anesthesiologist came over to my left side and started putting the meds into my fore, which was near my left hand. And that's when I messed up. Suddenly, I felt this sharp, shooting pain going all the way up my left arm. I wasn't just uncomfortable, I was crying uncontrollably from the pain. I remember someone on my right saying, "Don't worry, you won't remember this when you wake up." Well, spoiler alert, I remembered. When I woke up, the first thing I recalled was that awful pain. I've had multiple surgeries before, and anesthesia was always fine. But now, I've got a brand new fear of going under. Thanks, brain. TLDR: tried to stay awake and be aware before the anesthesia knocked me out during a surgery. The meds caused a shooting pain up my arm, and now I'm mildly terrified of surgery. Tuhi Deal says, trying to stay awake seems like the absolute last thing I'd want to do during surgery. Explorer 335 says, certain anesthesia medications can cause that burning sensation in the veins, phenols like propofol in particular. Premedicating with lidocaine or pushing drugs slower can prevent that. Aggressive Quiet 6426 says, did you ask them what caused the pain? Story 2, TIFU. By having sex, my husband texted me out of nowhere today saying he was at the hospital getting a CT scan because of a severe pain in his groin and abdomen he'd been having the past few days was getting unbearable. Obviously he thought the worst, including UTI, hernia, and was even scared he could have HIVAIDS because he's a barber and is scared of blood-borne pathogens. He's a hypochondriac too, lol. Well, a 5-hour hospital trip later, and turns out that he tore 2 muscles in his abdomen and his urethra was swollen. Then I remembered vaguely that we had some pretty rough drunk sex the other night that was very intense and vigorous from what I recall. Now no sex for 30 days, lmao, and he says it hurts so bad he can't pee and getting hard is painful. TLDR: broke my husband's whiner during rough sex and he ended up in the hospital thinking the worst. Desert Road says, sex in hot tub. Thrusting. Missed the vagina and snap. It healed but it has a dent. He loves me not says, anyone remember the TV series on TLC called Sex Sent Me to the ER? This post would make a great episode. Jeffrey_Friedel says, sounds painful for sure, but eventually a great story to tell your grandkids. Thanks for watching, I love you. Follow Reddit Echoes for more.